Hey guys, so today I want to talk about sleep or the lack thereof issues, either falling asleep or staying asleep. Those are the two most prevailing issues that people have. Either, it takes a really long time to get to sleep, but once they get to sleep, they can, sleep through the night, or sometimes people can fall right asleep, but they'll wake up at 3 a.m. and just feel wired and just toss and turn, not be able to get back to sleep. Some people just get up and do something. Some people actually experience symptoms of both, not being able to fall asleep and having trouble staying asleep. Most of the people that I work with who are having symptoms of, lingering stress and trauma with sleep issues are what I call the wired and tired category. And I want to talk a little bit about how to fix that, what the brain patterns look like. So there's two major issues here that I want to address. Number one is when a person is experiencing lack of sleep, it's often due to the fact that the brain isn't shutting down. And by that, I don't, I'm not overstating the obvious there, right? Because I guess the first response is, duh, yeah, if my brain shut down, I'd be asleep. What I mean is there are specific processes in certain areas of the brain, and that process is on overdrive. And those are patterns that we find are consistent with two people: intelligent people, higher intelligent people, and over anxious people. If you look at the statistics on the number of above average intelligence people to people who have higher anxiety, you'll find that there's actually a common denominator there. It's very common for people who have high intelligence to also have anxiety. And there's actually a very simple explanation for that. If you were to look at the activity or a brain map of a person who has anxiety versus a person who has high intelligence, those two maps would look nearly identical. As a brain trainer, there's almost no difference in looking at the activity in an anxious brain versus a highly intelligent brain. But there is one very important distinction between the two, and that is that the person who's just intelligent but not anxious is able to shut those processes down. Keep in mind what we're talking about here today is the ability to sleep. Many people teach their brain, because your brain does whatever you ask it to do. And it also has a series of automated processes that we call patterns that it does, well, automatically whenever it receives input. I want you to always keep in mind that a lot of these subconscious or unconscious processes are automated, and they are habitual, and they are ingrained or trained patterns, but they can be changed. Many of the subconscious processes like breathing or heart rate or perspiration are the common symptoms that people experience when they're having anxiety or can't sleep. By the way, a person who can't sleep is having brain patterns typically that are consistent with a person who is experiencing anxiety. And that is lots of overactivity in areas of the brain that should have the ability to shut down, to come back down to idle, but they're not. They're over revving. So, if you want to sleep better, we need to get the patterns simply to calm down. Now, you can train that with meditation. You can train that with breathing. Breathing exercises is an autonomic nervous system hack, if you will. You're literally training the brain, not the mind, but the brain to change the way it processes or handles data or the pattern that it's going through by the direct connection that your lungs have via the vagus nerve to your brain. So you can either go from the brain to the body to make changes. My cat just tried to jump off the desk and fell off. Or you can go, what I say, from the body to the brain, or you can go body to the brain, or you can go from the brain to the body. Both of those will actually affect changes in the autonomic nervous system via the vagus nerve. So back to how do I sleep? Well, one thing is to get those patterns to calm down. There's a secondary, I'm not even going to say indirect, I think it's a very direct implication of having what we call high patterns, or called beta patterns. Beta patterns, beta frequencies in the brain tend to produce dopamine. Dopamine isn't the neurotransmitter that you want floating around in your brain when you're trying to sleep. The slower brain frequencies are the ones that produce GABA and serotonin, which are the neurotransmitters that you want floating around in higher amounts in your brain when you're trying to rest and digest. So there's two reasons why a person would have difficulty sleeping, but both have to do with the same ultimate cause, and that is overactive frequencies in the brain. So if we simply bring down the frequencies, then we will not only produce the neurotransmitters that are needed for rest, that are produced at by the lower frequencies, but we'll also put ourselves in what we call the alpha or theta states, which are the more relaxed brain stage, which is the daydreaming stage, which is going to make it easier for you to go ahead and drift off into sleep. There's lots more to cover, but that's a simple gist of it. I'm going to keep rolling things out. It's always wonderful to talk to you guys. Please ask questions if you have them. I look forward to talking more soon.